Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The Home Secretary has announced plans to give the police more power to check what people are doing online. Internet providers would have to keep records of people's basic online history and then hand it over if required. It's all part of a sweeping overhaul of Britain's investigatory powers, an overhaul which the government says will improve accountability and oversight. Our security correspondent Gordon Carrera reports.
How much power should the state have to collect our information? And what limits and controls should there be? Today, the Home Secretary unveiled a new proposed law, which she said would be unprecedented.
It will provide the strongest safeguards and world-leading oversight arrangements, and it will give the men and women of our security and intelligence agencies and our law enforcement agencies, who do so much to keep us safe and secure, the powers they need to protect our country.
Today's bill, for the first time, makes clear to the public all the powers spies, police and the state have to access communications. Some of these capabilities are already well known, such as collecting communications data, the who called or emailed who and when, and intercepting the content, finding out what they actually said or wrote. Others, though, are less well known, such as the ability to carry out what's called equipment interference and network exploitation, which means hacking into computers and phones. And then there's the use of so-called bulk data, acquiring vast amounts of information, which can then be searched through for matches or patterns. Today's bill also outlines new safeguards and greater oversight over how the state can do all these things. This includes something critics had called for, a double lock, in which judges as well as ministers have to approve warrants for the most intrusive activity. There is one new power being proposed, the requirement for companies to keep what are called internet connection records for a year. These reveal the websites people have connected to, although not the full details of what they browse online. Police are making the case that this is vital.
A few years ago, we would use telephone records for this sort of information. Now more and more of us are using the internet to communicate. If we don't modernise, we're falling behind with technology and we just have more dark areas where we don't know what's happening.
But the lawyer who reviewed the existing system said it was now up to others to decide if the police should get this power.
It's not difficult to see that there could be a good reason for all this. The question is, what is Parliament going to think? And what are we the people going to think? Is this something just a bit more intrusive than we're comfortable with, or are we prepared to pay the price for the sake of an improved crime-fighting capability?
Today's bill is just a draft. Both houses of Parliament and the public will now get their say, with a vote due next year. Gordon Carrera, BBC News.
Internet companies will be required to store our web browsing history for 12 months under a planned new surveillance law. It's part of a draft bill which will give the security services and the police new powers to bring them into line with the digital age. But one internet company has told ITV News it won't stop terrorists. Our UK editor Rohit Kashru reports.
The spies have come close to winning their argument that to find a needle, they need to see the haystack. Greater access to our lives online. To those who worry about a surveillance state, they'd point to Woolwich, where Lee Rigby was murdered. His killer had posted his intention on the internet. Or to rock star Ian Watkins, jailed for child sex offences after his communications data was studied. The Home Secretary revealed new measures today. Intrusive, no more than looking through an itemised phone bill, she said.
It cannot be right that today the police could find an abducted child if the suspects were using mobile phones to coordinate their crime, but if they were using social media or communications apps, then they would be out of reach.
Police will be able to request internet histories in the same way they do with phone records. They'll only see a list of the sites you visited, not what you did there. For more intrusive surveillance, a minister will have to sign a warrant, but a judge will have the opportunity to overrule them. A so-called double lock system.
People entrust much more of their secrets, the things that they don't want the rest of the world to know, to computers, to other devices. So they mind much more about their online privacy than they ever have in the past, and quite rightly.
The backdrop to all this is the changing nature of crime. The old tools and methods, now museum pieces. But the challenge of balancing our liberty with our security predates even these. The argument goes that the current laws were built around the criminals of yesteryear, that today's fraudsters and terrorists have new weapons and have built new safe havens. The internet is said to provide the new hiding places. Web companies were meeting today in Dublin, and one of the biggest said the new laws would make us no safer.
It's not that I don't want to help fight the bad guys. I think we're all on the same team here. But when you understand the technology, you know that if you're able to put that kind of technology in, then the bad guys can use it.
But perhaps the most damaging criticism comes from liberty campaigners. One said tonight that the proposals were a breathtaking attack on our freedom. Rohit Katru, ITV News.
I've been getting away with it all.